Hello, hello, crafty friends. This is Shalon here with the Printable, Cuttable, Creatables design team, and today we're here to learn how to create your own print and cut title using the watermelon cut file from Printable, Cuttable, Creatables. As you can see here, I use this print and cut create your own title to help mark my daughter's last day of school project in her pre-K3 art book. In order to create this project, you want to use matte photo paper, black cardstock, and green cardstock, along with a Tombow mono liquid glue, but whatever you have in your stash will work. First thing I like to do is I am here in my Silhouette software and I'm opening up my file. I like to organize my files within my download screen, and then once I get acclimated with them, I move them over to a folder called Cameo files. Here you will see that there are the watermelon assembled SVGs along with the watermelon separated SVGs, and I super love this because I like to design with the assembled SVGs. However, I do like how the separated ones show what's available, and the top is usually available for like paper piecing and the bottom is usually more geared towards vinyl. However, I do use both pieces for projects regardless of whether I'm working in paper or vinyl, and you're going to see a little bit how I do that later on in the video. However, I definitely love that both are included because I just find it to be incredibly versatile. So what I'm doing here is I am just creating a bounding box and moving them over to the side so I still have both kinds of cut files on my page to work with. And then I went over and I am typing in watermelon day using the text tool within Silhouette Studio. I have no idea why it was called Watermelon Day, but in my daughter's, last week of school calendar, her teacher called it Watermelon Day, and they created a watermelon project, so perhaps that's why, but I'm not so sure. My 3-year-old didn't have much to say on the subject, but we're going with Watermelon Day. What I just did there is I used the dropper tool so I can match the color of my text exactly to the color that was in the cut file. And then here I am a bit of a font hoarder, so I am flipping through some of my fonts to just figure out what font I like best. The font that I ultimately ended up selecting was a font called Alphabet Pony. And for the life of me, I cannot remember where I got it from. I do get a lot of my fonts from So Fontsy. I get some from Free Fonts. I get some from dafont.com, so I would check some of those places. What I just did here is I changed the line color so I could see how the lines connect a little bit better. I find the contrast to be really helpful for me, especially when I am doing some kind of offset. I definitely like to do offsetting on my fonts, especially when I am wanting to thicken up a font, and that's what I wanted here. I really like the look of Alphabet Pony, however, I wanted to thicken it up. And then I'm going back into the fill menu there, and I am still using the color that I selected with my eyedropper so I can match it all up. Then what I'm doing here is because I just offset it, I'm grouping the words together, and then I group the whole thing together after I use my centering align tool on Silhouette. I always like to have the computer do the work for me, if at all possible, because its eye is going to be better than my eye. Here I'm dragging over the assembled watermelon, and I'm using the green rotation tool to spin it a little bit so I can have it on a little bit of an angle and make it fit as I want to in the empty space there behind day. I'm going to be doing the same thing with the watermelon slice that you see there on the screen, and I just do a little bit of finagling with it. I grab the corner the corners so I can resize the shape easily without messing up the aspect ratio. So you can do that using any corner. I'm also using the green circle tool to help rotate the shape in the direction that I want it to go in. And as you see there, I'm just kind of making sure that I like the placement of everything. Now, here at the bottom, I am using the bottom pieces of the file, and I am ungrouping them because I just want the seeds. And because the top is meant for layering, I can't just grab the seeds because the layers have holes for the black to show through, versus the bottom that is meant for vinyl has the actual image of the seeds. And since that's what I want, I like to have both images there so I can do these kinds of designs. So what I just did there was I ungrouped the watermelon slices, and I ungrouped the seeds so I can have them by themselves. And then I'm taking each individual seed and I am resizing them, again using the corners, as well as spinning them using the green circle so they kind of look like they are splattered and scattered around my title. What I end up doing is, to make sure that they were all consistent, is I just grab one seed and I resize that one seed, and then I just use the copy and paste key commands on my computer so I can duplicate the seed as often as I want. You can also achieve this effect by right-clicking and selecting duplicate on the menu that comes up, but I use key commands a lot in all of my computing, crafty or not. So I just automatically go towards using the key commands, which on a Mac is Command C. I'm not exactly sure what it is on a Windows computer. It's been a while since I used a Windows computer, but I believe it's Control C. Here I am just spinning my watermelon seeds around, looking for the correct kind of placement, so it feels kind of complete and balanced. And then I'm selecting a bounding box to select all the images and grouping them together so I can move it as one unit. I don't need any of these watermelon seeds anymore, so I'm just moving them off to the side in case I change my mind, and I do. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to create an offset, because I would like to layer my title on a couple of sheets of colored cardstock to make it pop off the page. Right here, I'm just changing the distance of the offset to 0.2 because I don't want it to be super duper close up against the lettering, and I don't want it to be super far away because, like I said before, I want to use two colors, and I also want to have a white background. This right here is going to be the white background, and whoops, I made a little mistake there. Sometimes that happens. I accidentally selected my grouped page instead of the offset, and so I just clicked undo. Again, a crafter's and a computer's friend. So right in here I have some pieces that create like a hole in my watermelon day, and I want it to be a solid. So I'm going to remove the watermelon day text, and I'm just going to work with the offset. I am releasing the compound path here, and then I'm going to select the outer piece, and I'm going to remove it, so those inner pieces there that are highlighted are going to be deleted. And I just make sure that all three are there in the bounding box, and I hit the delete key. And then I am bringing down my title here to make sure that I like the look, and I decide that I do not like that big gap there that is between the watermelon and the D in day. So I open up my point editing tool, and I kind of double click there, and I am just deleting those edit points, because as you can see, as you select the individual edit points that you don't want, the gap goes away and it drops down to the bottom, creating a nice blank space between the watermelon slice and the capital D in day. But I do want to have a little something there, so I ungroup my file and I'm going to grab and copy a watermelon seed to place it in that white space so it doesn't feel so empty. Here I am just playing with the rotation to see how I like the seed placement and the seed direction. Again, I'm looking kind of like a splattered watermelon seed effect is really what I'm going for there. All right, so there I am kind of happy with how it looks. So I'm selecting the entire thing. Again, I click offset and I keep the default offset distance. And again, I go over to the the eyedropper tool in the fill box, and I'm selecting the eyedropper to go over that light green because I want to match my green to the green in the watermelon cut file. And then I repeat the same process using the offset for black, and I just fill it black. What we're going to do now is prepare it to be printed off. So I grab my green and black offsets and I select a bounding box and group my entire watermelon day design, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a print and cut. So I need to set up my paper in Silhouette with registration marks, and I am using a piece of matte photo paper by Canon because it matches my printer, and I'm setting it up to be 5 by 7. Now here I always go into the advanced options and I move over the left, top, and right inset as much as they can go so I can maximize the space on a page. In my experience, it is always better to never ever touch the bottom inset because that really just messes with the printing and whether or not your Silhouette will read the registrations. But the left, top, and right, I almost always move them as far left as they can go so I can maximize the space on the page. And that's something that I really like because materials can be expensive, so I like to fit as much as possible on a page. And here I like the way that it's set up. So now I'm going to my page setup, and I have a Canon TS9200 craft printer. And I super love the way that it works. I love printing on the matte photo paper because it feels like cardstock, but the colors are way bolder than printing on typical white cardstock. So you might want to give that a try when you're doing print and cut anything. Here I have it set on my Silhouette matte, and now we're going over to the offsets. And so I am selecting both of those offsets. I cut them. I'm opening up a new window inside of my Silhouette, and I am using just the 12 by 12 matte. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting them both at the same time, and we'll see that I split the green. I put the green at the top and I put the black at the bottom. It really doesn't matter the placement, but what I do is I am working on a transparent matte so I can see exactly how much cardstock and where I need to place the cardstock on my mat. So after that, what I do is I go over and I change my cut settings, and I use the cut settings for cardstock plain for both the print and cut matte photo paper and for my cardstock photo paper. And they both cut like a dream, very easy to pop out. You see here I have named my silhouettes. I have two silhouettes, my trusty Cameo 1 and my newer Cameo 3 named Agnes and Gretchen. And then I just assemble them, and here's my completed project. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment box below. Happy crafting! Bye, friends!